Warwickshire pile on the runs as Essex struggle for wickets. It's come down to the final few games in the Specsavers County Championship, and Essex are in the driving seat. They sit pretty at the top of Division 1, but their advantage is not a commanding one, with just 2 points keeping them above one-time leaders Somerset. Heading into their match against Warwickshire at Edgbaston, the visitors knew that they needed to better Somerset's result to maintain their place in pole position to reclaim the title they won in 2017. They take the opportunity to field first, putting their hosts into bat on a crisp late summer morning in Birmingham. But the opening partnership of Will Rhodes and Dom Sibley has been one of the most consistent and productive so far this season, and so it proved in the first session of play. A steady start saw Warwickshire build a considerable platform. A steady start saw Warwickshire build a considerable platform, the partnership worth 50 without much to worry about. That kept climbing, and by the time Essex had finally made the breakthrough, the score was approaching 100. Simon Harmer, once again a difference maker of the side, finding an edge from Rhodes through to Wheater. Liam Banks would survive just 5 balls from the spinner, flicking one around the corner to Ravi Bapara. That wicket would signal lunch. Warwickshire 91 for 2, the 2 quick wickets before the interval removing some of the gloss from a fine first session for the Bears. Sibley continued his fine form after lunch, the score quickly passing triple figures as he was joined by Sam Hain. Sibley's 50 came shortly after, his innings crucial for Warwickshire. But he'd go no further, Harmer taking a smart return catch to see Sibley depart for 51. Hain continued where Sibley had left off, supported by Lamb as they guided Warwickshire through to tea at 172 for 3. The Bears would play their way to 200 as play resumed for the evening session. The partnership grew, both men facing up to some demanding bowling from the league's leaders. Sam Hain's 50 came not long after, his innings well crafted. Lamb brought up a half century of his own as the score grew towards 250. They'd passed that with just a handful of overs left in the day, both men reaching the close with their wickets intact, Warwickshire closing the day on 269 for 3. Essex had looked to restrict their hosts as they chased the point that could be crucial for their title aspirations. But only Harmer had found any real joy. The Bears' batsmen had put on a decent total. Another day belonging to Warwickshire brought to an end, Essex up against it. Warwickshire had enjoyed themselves on the first day. They'd been put into bat by the league leaders and acquitted themselves well to the conditions, batting themselves into a position of control. Their visitors have a lot to play for, and for a period during the first day, Essex would have been confident, with news filtering through of Somerset's travails with bat in hand. And as play got underway on the morning of day 2, the task for Essex was clear: stem the flow of runs and take control of the match. But in Sam Hain and Matthew Lamb, the home side had 2 set batsmen, with the partnership worth almost 150 runs. They'd surpassed that figure quickly, closing in on 300 in the process. The wicket of Hain would provide Essex with some added motivation, an edge off Porter sharply taken by Lawrence at 4th slip. As the saying goes, 1 brings 2, and Burgess would be the next man to fall. Porter once again finding the edge, Simon Harmer's one-handed grab a real moment of brilliance. Essex had found a bit of rhythm, and Harmer picked up his 4th of the innings, Brooks going without scoring as Bapara took a smart catch. Harry Brooks helped Lamb guide the Bears past 300, earning another batting point in the process. The visitors' momentum evaporated, the partnership continuing to grow. Lamb's maiden century came as Warwickshire passed 350, a deserved reward for a determined innings. Lunch would come soon after, the score 360 for 6, Essex unable to make a real dent in the home side's lineup. There was no stopping Warwickshire after lunch. They batted on, taking the Essex bowlers to task as the total began to disappear into the clouds. Brooks and Lamb enjoyed a 100-run partnership, steaming past 400, before the visitors finally picked up another wicket. A moment of hesitation enough for Harmer to run out Brooks, the Bears' man, out for 46. That wicket proved to be a mere bump in the road for the home side, whose batting was making the league leaders look ordinary. Lamb duly brought up his 150, and the Bears cruised past 450. They reached tea at 468 for 7, Lamb on 173 and the home side in total control. Lamb would finally go in the overs after the interval, caught at mid-wicket for 173, his score eclipsing his previous career best of 79. Harmer would confirm his fifer with the wicket of Oliver Hannon-Dalby, trapped LBW for 1. But Patel was seeing it well, and ably supported by Garrett. The Bears' captain took his side past 500 and picked up his 50 in the process. Harmer would finally bring an end to the Warwickshire innings, Garrett coming down the wicket to the spinner, only to be stumped. The Bears were all out for a mammoth 517 runs. And when they did get their first innings up and running, the scoreboard pressure would tell early on, Essex mustering just 31 runs before Sir Alistair Cook was out, caught by Sibley off the bowling of Patel. They'd reach stumps just 4 balls later. Another day belonging to Warwickshire brought to an end, Essex up against it. Their hosts had batted for almost 2 days, and the task at hand in the remaining 6 sessions of play is a daunting one to say the least. If the league leaders hold hope of picking up a victory here, they'll need to bat out of their skins on day 3. Westley hits 100 as clash heads towards draw in Birmingham. For almost 2 days, this match has been all about Warwickshire. Essex's decision to put their hosts into bat on day 1 now looks to be a bit of a questionable one, with the home side racking up an imposing 517 all out when they were finally dismissed late on the second day of play. And the Essex reply hadn't got off to the best of starts, the dependable Sir Alistair Cook removed cheaply in the dying Birmingham light. They'd suffer another blow early on day 3. A decent start for Essex, seeing them pass 50 before Oliver Hannon-Dalby removed night watchman Sam Cook for 4. But opener Nick Brown forged a partnership with Tom Westley, and the pair began to find their feet. The Warwickshire bowlers were working hard, but finding little success. Before long, Essex had breached 3 figures, and Brown was flirting with a half-century. He'd have to wait though. Lunch called with the score 120 for 2, Essex is number 1 on 49. He'd reached the landmark shortly after the restart, the side looking comfortable as the second session got underway. Westley would join him on 50, the pair comfortable as they breezed past 150. Bears skipper Jitan Patel would remove Brown, finally trapped LBW for 65. But Essex responded well, Lawrence the foil to Westley as the pair reached 200 before tea, their first batting points earned. And the pattern of play continued after the interval. For a time, at least. Warwickshire finally found another wicket, Lawrence out for 28, caught by Sibley off Garrett. Westley, though, was unmoved, and he converted his 50 into 100. A second batting bonus point came soon after, 250 reached without much fuss. Bopara couldn't hang around though, he was bowled by Patel for 11. Tenduscarter followed, LBW to Brooks without scoring. And just when the Bears were building up a head of steam, bad light saw an end to play. Essex 278 for 6, with Westley unbeaten on 123. With just 1 day of play left, and up to 2 innings left to complete, barring a follow-on, this one looks to be heading towards a draw. The result the Bears need to ensure not to relegated, instead of them, but a far cry from the victory Essex were chasing in their quest for the Division 1 title. They've been usurped to the top of the table by Somerset. The fourth day at Edgbaston could be key to this intriguing title race. Tom Westley salvages crucial draw for Essex at Edgbaston. A week that started with Essex sitting proudly at the top of Division 1 is set to come to a close with the league leaders slipping into second place. The only question remaining appears to be just how far behind Somerset they'll be. That will be determined by a multitude of factors, not least how they fare in the remainder of their first innings on the fourth and final day of play at Edgbaston. When the third day was brought to a close, the side were on 278 for 6 in reply to the hosts' 517, with just 9 overs left before the bonus points cut-off and 20 runs left to get before they earned another for their batting. If one man was going to help dig Essex out of a hole, it was Tom Westley. His century had kept Essex ticking along and would lead the charge as his side resumed on the fourth day of play. He'd lose Wheater early on, caught by Hayne at short leg off Patel. Harmer followed 2 balls later, bowled by a sharply turning off break, his leg stump taken out of the ground, the Bears' skipper now with 5 to his name. Beard would stick with Westley, but the pair would fall 1 run short of picking up another batting bonus point. The magic number for them was now 367 runs to avoid the follow-on. But hopes of avoiding it would take a serious blow when Westley's magnificent innings came to an end. Brooks got one to nip back, and his off-stump was removed as the Essex man looked to leave, out for 141. Those fears were confirmed with just 4 runs added to the total. Patel with his 6th wicket of the innings, Banks with a smart take at short gully, Essex all out for 324, Warwickshire enforcing the follow-on with their opponents 193 runs behind on a wicket that looked like it was turning. Essex were now in damage control mode, batting to save the game and avoid an unthinkable defeat. But their task would be made harder just 4 balls into their second innings. Nick Brown had batted so well for his first innings 65, but he'd be unable to repeat the feat, Garrett finding the edge and Banks taking another low catch well. Tom Westley may very well have kept his pads on, returning to the middle so soon after getting out for 141 in the first innings. But he and Sir Alistair Cook found some control and guided their side through to lunch without further loss. Despite that early wicket, the match reverted to type. Only 21 wickets had fallen in almost 4 days of play at Edgbaston, and in conditions more akin to early July than September, Cook and Westley settled in. As they moved onto triple figures, Cook picked up a 50, the former England captain reaching it in typically patient style. Westley's followed in the next over, both men batting at the same watchful speed. The session belonged to the visitors. They reached tea at 117 for 1, still trailing by 76. Fears of defeat diminishing, but not dismissed. It would be more of the same at the resumption of play, Westley now taking the opportunity to attack the Bears' bowlers and play his shots. That saw him quickly race into the 90s, the Bears' belief beginning to slip. Westley wouldn't make it to a second match 100 though. He'd be caught by Patel off Lamb, 3 runs short of his ton. He'd done his job and saved the game for Essex. Bears captain Patel offered the handshake 5 balls later, both teams agreeing to the draw. Warwickshire's mammoth first innings total, anchored by Lamb's maiden first-class century, had ensured they'd avoided a defeat that could see their threat of relegation prolonged into the penultimate week of the Specsavers County Championship. The result confirms the long-expected relegation of winless Nottinghamshire. Essex owe Tom Westley. His batting had saved the match, but more importantly, it had kept them in the title race. Their 2-point advantage over Somerset has given way to an 8-point deficit, but with 2 matches left to go, there is all still to play for. Their title rivals arguably have the tougher fixtures, with a difficult-to-read Ageas Bowl wicket waiting for them next, while Essex hosts Surrey at Chelmsford. It looks like we should be heading for a top 2 final day clash to decide who is crowned 2019 Specsavers County Championship winners.